and that you're enjoying your food. You can continue to eat while we continue with the presentation. I hope everyone is happy with what they had to eat. I hope you made room for lunch as well, because we're going to be having lunch just probably within the next 2 hours. So I hope you left some room. Before I continue to speak about payroll, is there anyone who has a question regarding the partner accounting that I just did a presentation on? Anyone? Questions? So this basically means that you guys understood everything I said. Yes? No? Yes? Okay, brilliant. So you don't mind me asking you guys any questions? Just to pick on your understanding. Okay, I'll probably do that later. So the presentation we're getting into now is payroll solutions, and this particular payroll solution is called Partner Payroll. It's I wouldn't want to call it sister product, but it's the product that goes in line with the partner accounting as well. But this specifically for payroll and human resources management. So what you're seeing on the screen is what we call the payroll stack. What we are basically talking about is that any business, anyone who's doing anything for revenue, which is basically business, is going to require one of the three. But most importantly, you will require the first one, which is payroll. So payroll basically enables you to pay your clients or pay yourself. Most of the businesses out there or business owners or people who are just starting up with the business may want to go to the bank and do a transaction with the bank, and they're asked, okay, how much do you earn? And they would usually say, I'm the owner of the business. So, but then the bank will insist and say, but how much do you earn? Because it's not like all the money that comes to your business belongs to you. So we usually insist that from the moment you decide on doing business, you will need a payroll package, and you can even pay yourself a salary as generous as you want to, or you can just figure out a way to just survive along the way. But whichever way you decide to do it, you're going to need a payroll package, which basically then enables you to get a pay slip and then pay the respective legislative requirements, which is your taxes and any other deductions which are made policy by the local government. So why do we call it a payroll stack? Because you have payroll, which enables you to pay employees and manage your business, and then you've got human resources. Human resources specifically manages your human resources. It has nothing to do with you paying people. So these are such functions as your medical aid, as your company assets, leave management, and so forth. This constitutes human resources management, because you're not really paying anyone. You just want to know how better you can manage. So if you have a company cell phone, how much is it worth? The business needs to know of all of these details. Hence why I'm saying the one which is most important is the payroll, as it allows you to pay people or pay yourself if you're just a one-man business. Human resources, and you have self-service. Self-service, along with what I've been trying to preach since the start of this presentation, is that Sage is trying to make business more comfortable to run, and for employees more comfortable to conduct their business away from work. So the self-service, what it basically does is it enables you, the employee or the manager, to conduct human resource functions off your phone. So I'll speak more about that later, but what it basically means is you can submit leave from your phone, submit any requirement, any costs that you need to be taken care of by the company through your phone. You can check out your leave days. You can have access to your payslip. If at all you need to hide your payslip from anyone, you will have your payslip on your phone, or you can download it from the internet, and you are the only person who actually has access to this payslip. So this is the self-service function. It's an online-based function where we actually help you set up the portal where you as a business will access your payslips, leave days, leave submissions, and this will all be done via the mobile phone or computer or any device which has access to the internet. So key reasons for purchasing Sage Partner Payroll. It's ideal for startup and small businesses, easy to install and set up. So you don't actually need anyone to assist you in terms of doing the setup. Yes, I mean, should you need so, Berith is available to assist you, but we have actually done the package or created the solution in a way that enables you to automatically go through the setup. So the setup is you just basically get a disk or a download program, run it on your computer, and it will take you through the respective steps that you actually need. Legislatively compliant. What we basically mean by legislatively compliant, as I've been saying since earlier on, it allows you to to stay in line with what's happening with the government and stay in line with the policies that the government have actually instituted, that the company needs to pay and that the employees need to pay as well. How that helps is that any transactions that are happening in your business should represent in your accounting. So if you're paying people, the accounting package should have a batch or a transaction which shows that, okay, I've paid people and this is the amount that I've paid people. If there's anything that's happening within the payroll package which is financial, it must also be represented in the accounting package. So hence the integration, it's a back-to-back integration, which basically means that they're seamless. So every time you do a payroll, you don't need to then go into your accounting package and annotate that you've actually done a transaction. The payroll package will automatically send a payroll batch to your accounting package and say that I've done a transaction, I've paid people, and this is the amount that I've actually paid people. So this is something that's actually great in order for you to maintain your business properly. Quick setup, you have a setup assistant, legislation, statutory transactions. So statutory transactions are your respective taxes that you pay through your salary. You have your pay as you earn. Those are part of the statutory transactions. And I'm not quite sure of some of the deductions that you have, but certain countries have specific payments. You have AIDS levies, you have unemployment benefits. Each country will have its own statutory requirements, and these will be preloaded to your specific region and included on your payslip as well. So that's what's important. Just still on that fact, you in so many cases, if you're running a payroll manually, you might get it right in terms of, yes, this is how much the person is earning. You might also get it right in terms of, okay, this is their leave days. But in terms of calculating their statutory requirements, we always, in almost every organization that we've gone through which are doing payrolls manually, either the business is losing money or the employees are being cheated off their money, but not because the business is doing it intentionally, but because of miscalculations which happen. Because remember, all the taxes are due to the government by what we call salary brackets. So if someone earns 5,000 and someone earns 10,000, the tax that is deducted from both those two different people is actually different, and so applies every other statutory transaction. It is based on your salary bracket. So your leave days and your pay as you earn, all of this is also based on perhaps the number of time you spent on the company, and imagine also including commissions and so forth. Imagine also including, benefits such as vehicle, fuel, and so forth. So this, at the end of the day, becomes a cumbersome task. And if you're doing it on Excel, if your formula goes wrong, it basically means your payroll for the whole group has actually gone wrong. So this is why we are in this process of insisting or basically a strong recommendation to all business people to start engaging or looking at taking up a payroll package. So we have an employee personal information, or what we call an employee master file. An employee master file will have personal details, it will have payment details, it will have the rates at which that person is employed at, it will have the tax, it will have any loans. So if you've taken any money from the business, all that information will be inputted on your master file. Any leave, and if it so helps the human resources personnel, you can also input a picture. So any cancellations of employment can even be done through the employee master file. Any changes that need to be done in terms of how much your salary you're earning can be done through the employee master file. So you'll find it's actually quite simple to process a payroll, because all the information regarding any particular employee has already been preloaded into the package. So all they need to do is process a payroll, and that particular employee will be paid, or it can be done on a group level. I'm quite sure you won't be able to see this because of the fonts, but this is what the personnel, the human resources personnel, will see. And what all of these line items that you're seeing are the transactions going to that respective employee, all of the deductions and any of the benefits that you're receiving, any income coming to you, and anything that's supposed to be coming off your salary. This is what the payslip will look like, but this is from the administrator's point of view. I'm hoping I'll get time to show you what the actual payslip will look like, but this information will then be represented on an A4 or a half-page paper, and it can be printed or sent to your email or sent to your employee self-service. Batch importing. So if you have been doing salaries or salaries manually, or have been carrying out any transactions within your business manually in respect to your human resources and your payroll, you can actually put that information onto Excel and import the batch onto the payroll package. So this allows you don't have to manually create anything that you need to do. You can basically put the information onto Excel in a particular format which the system will dictate to you, and then you can bring that information onto the package. So even if you've been doing your payrolls manually, it's actually quite simple for you to adopt the payroll package, and simple for you to use. So even in terms of the employee master file, you can put all the information of the employees that you have, how many are they, surnames, names, rates, and so forth, and then it will and then you can upload that information onto your payroll package. Integration. So I spoke about integration. What you basically do is, in the system, it allows you to direct a path. What we mean by a path is you're basically saying, okay, my name is payroll package, but payroll package needs to communicate with accounting package. Where does accounting package sit on the computer? There is a path. It's sitting on the local drive and it's sitting in my documents, or it's sitting where and where. So this basically allows the payroll package to communicate and locate your accounting package so that it can send all respective information. And you can also annotate what you want to call it. You can call it a payroll journal. And how often do you want accounting to be updated of this? I want accounting to be updated monthly, or if you run a weekly or a fortnight payroll, it can be updated as frequent as you want it to be updated. So this is basically that integration which is important. Hence why we usually present these products together, because a lot of their functions go hand in hand. And even though you may be using a different package for either payroll or accounting, our recommendation is you use the same family of products, because when we make them, we are cognizant of the relationship they have between the two of them and how they share features and how they make your life much easier. Reminders. So why are reminders so important? If you're running a payroll package, imagine you have employees whose contracts are expiring. You need to know of this. Imagine you have employees who have loans. You need to know of this. Imagine you have employees who have taken, leave and so forth, and you need to account for this. So it's the salary and the payroll processing it's quite an intricate process, and at the same time it's also quite a sensitive thing to do. You don't want to have to do it the wrong way. So if you set up reminders, these reminders will pop up whether or not the system is open. So you may not even be logged into the package, but the reminder will pop up and it will show you that, okay, listen, you need to deduct loans from the people who've taken loans, or you have a group of casual employees whose contracts have expired. Please renew contracts before you make the next payments. Otherwise, you'll see yourself paying people who are not working for the company anymore. So this is why reminders are pretty important. You can set up how often you want them to pop up. You can set them up when you want them to pop up, the time, and so forth. So it's part of our strength features that we actually have in the package. And we have what we call add-on modules. So the add-on modules on payroll, in this particular case, we're talking about a multiple transaction manager. Multiple transaction manager allows you to do transaction for more than one person. So imagine you want to apply a percentage increase. So you have people who earn 10,000, 100,000, 20,000 and so forth. And applying increase for each and every person, if you're doing it manually, it means you have to say, okay, so he earns 10,000. If I am giving him 7% increase, and then you have to do the calculation. Imagine so much room for error. And increases also affect the pay as you earn. It also affects the statutory requirements. So in this case, you can just do a 7% increase across the board. So you can say the whole company, I don't care who earns what and how much they earn, they're getting a 7% increase, and it will apply that increase across the board. You also have, the same decreasing amounts, and you can replace amounts. So you can say for everyone that earns 100,000, they now earn 110,000. That's you have literally replaced an amount. So what will happen is that amount will just replace everyone who has 100,000 reflecting on their basic salary, or on any one of the transactions that you do for them. And leave processing. If today the president says tomorrow is a public holiday, it's actually not a public holiday in terms of the existing calendar, but your human resources department needs to acknowledge that. So what they'll basically do is get in onto the multiple transaction manager and apply leave for everyone based on what the president would have said, or however the government would have chosen to conduct their business. So this allows you as a company to do transaction on a multiple level. Imagine I have to pay everyone here or conduct leave processing for everyone in this room. It will literally take me the whole day, because I have to calculate person by person and also calculate the variables which affect one transaction will affect the next transaction, and that will literally take me the whole day. But if I do this, the system will automatically change everything that is affected by a simple transaction, and it will do that on a global scale or on a multiple scale. Third-party transfers. Third-party transfers is the money that we collect for the government. So your pay as you earn, the Tanzania Revenue Authority wants their money monthly. So they say you have 5 employees, then these 5 employees, you've deducted 5,000 worth of shillings, please give us our money. The system will automatically create a batch which you can send to the bank to pay Tanzania Revenue Authority. It will already have the name of the institution you're paying, the reason why you're paying that institution, the bank account for that institution. So there's no mistakes, because every time you do a payroll run, statutory requirements are automatically deducted from those payroll runs or any payments that you've done, whether it be bonuses or so forth. Any deductions that do not belong to you, that belong to any government or third-party institution, will automatically be deducted, and a batch is created automatically again, sent to the bank, and again in respect of the integration, the bank, the accounting package will receive a batch of whatever processing has actually been done. So the accounting package will register that I've received 5,000, which we have actually paid towards the Tanzania Revenue Authority. We have Sage Intelligence. I spoke about Sage Intelligence earlier being a reporting tool that we have, and we've actually created a reporting forum where people exchange different requirements of reporting from different industries, from different departments, from different requirements. So this is pretty important, because for the manager or for the business owner, I want to know certain information right now. I can simply say, okay, I need to make sure that my business makes 1 million shillings within the next 2 weeks. So I need to know how many people are on leave or have applied for leave within the next 2 weeks, because I need the whole company on board. So you could literally pull a report that gives you leave management and tells you you have 10% of the company away on leave right now. So you can basically just speak to your managers and say, please recall all leave processing and make sure that anyone who has applied for leave has to go on leave if there is no other option. But for anyone else, maybe I will need everybody at work. Or if you want to run an asset register, I want to know how much of our company assets are out there, how much are they worth, who has them, are they paying for them, do they own them, are we loaning to them? This is the kind of information that Sage Intelligence will provide for you. So it will provide for you payment and human resources information. If you want to know how much is our salary bill, Sage Intelligence, it can give you that information. If you want to know where you can cut in terms of costs, this is how some of the companies, they run this report, they see, but we don't need that cost, we don't need that cost. This is how we can bring down our costs. So it makes life much easier to see from the top, especially if you're coming from a management or business owner level, or even a team leader level, for you to actually manage your human resources. Human resources, employee personal information. So what this does, it basically carries personal information. You have your company assets information, you have your personal information, your beneficiaries, education, company assets, anything that has to do with you being an employee or a business owner that has nothing to do with you getting paid. This is where we host that information. Anything that has to do with any disciplinary that you've gone through, anything that has to do with you just being an employee, all that information is recorded here. So if you go through any disciplinary, any promotion and so forth, we'll record this information here. If you have any company assets, the information will be recorded here. So we can literally pull a master file and say, okay, who's Glenn? Let's see what he's doing in the company, and we can have all that information. What company assets do you have? Have you gone through promotions? Have you gone through any annual or midterm performance appraisals and so forth? all of this information is actually hosted in the human resources personal employee information. So disciplinary is also part of human resources. You know, I've had so many people so many times saying, oh, I've been going to work late, I'm going to get fired, or I missed some days for going to work, I might just miss my job, I might just lose my job. But the fact of the matter is, many of us don't actually know what kind of action constitutes when you do a certain action at work. If you come to work late, you don't know what that actually means. If you come to work drunk, you don't know what that actually means. And so what this system helps you to do is it helps you manage human resources, and it gives you specific, let's say, disciplinary occurrences. So if someone comes to work late, it will tell you, okay, how many times have they come to work late? They've come to work late 5 times a week. Okay, this is the disciplinary measure that you should carry out, and so forth. So we already have 66 disciplinary reasons with the steps to follow. By the steps to follow, I mean it will tell you what you need to do. As an employee, you will also receive information of this is what you've done, and as the manager, it will tell you the right steps that you need to take at each turn, depending on what's actually happening. It automatically checks valid for date and recommends next steps to follow. So it will tell you that, okay, this person was late for work and we gave him a verbal warning. How long is the verbal warning going to be effective, and should they go against the agreed verbal warning, what then happens after? So it basically helps you manage your human resources. So this is what it basically looks like. What you see on top will be the offense. What you see on the bottom would be the kind of disciplinary that needs to be taken: verbal warning, written warning, and the levels of the offense. So if it's a one-time dismissal, it will tell you this is a one-time dismissal. And what you actually see here on the right is the form to which you as an employee and the manager or the business owner will say, this is what happened. So this is the offense, and we have both agreed and we have both signed, and we both annotate how long this offense is actually active for before we institute a bigger discipline, or before you need to make sure that you take care of yourself and you don't do the same offense all over again. These are performance reviews. So in each company, or basically where we come from, we do performance reviews every 3 months in the year. And every 3 months, what we agreed you should do. So we'll say, we agreed you should clean the floor, and we'll say you have key performance indications and key performance areas. Your key performance areas is what are you being judged on, and your indications is how you're supposed to be performing that specific task. So we'll say you're supposed to clean the floor, and you're supposed to use handy Andy and surf, and you're supposed to do this 2 or 3 times a day. Have you done so? Yes. Have you used the right equipment? Yes. So we use this to ensure that you're still effective to the business, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in the right manner. So each and all of us here are actually supposed to be knowing what is required of us in the business and how to perform our tasks in the business. Because many a time we believe that just because we are experienced, if we are employed by a business, they need to take us through induction, and part of what induction involves is you going through this sort of information, that this is our expectation of you and this is how you're supposed to perform the task. It saves you, and it also saves the company, because if something goes wrong and those who ask say, did you know what you were supposed to do? Well, I was just using my experience, which is also wrong, because each and every company and each and every department has specific ways to which they run their processes. So performance reviews are very important to the business. Training and education, what you're presently doing right now, I'm hoping you're learning something. And this actually constitutes as training or education, because I'm hoping when you do leave here, you know more than you knew when you actually came into this room. So your company will actually annotate that, okay, Glenn attended training and education seminar on partner accounting and payroll. So there could come a time where they're saying, we're looking for an accounting or payroll resource. How much do you know? How much can you help us in making a decision on what needs to happen next? So your company will always need to record this information regarding your education. If you have a degree, diploma, if you're doing a certificate, all of that information should actually be recorded. So they could literally be looking to promote someone, and they say, please just look for someone who has a degree in accounting because we need a new manager for a specific finance department. They can pull up a report, or they can pull up master files, and the master files will have this information, which makes it much easier for the company to make decisions. Human resource actions: attach employment contracts, reminders, staff documentation, e.g. loan agreements. So remember I spoke about the reminders in the payroll section. Now the human resources section has what you call actions. And with the actions, they will act in the same way as reminders act, as in you can actually attach a contract. So I'll say, this is Glenn's action, and at each month I need to deduct his loan, and this is his loan. So I will actually attach his loan to a specific action, and I can also attach a contract as well to a specific action. I can attach anything, even a company asset agreement, that Glenn took a vehicle, this is the agreement that we did. Each and every month I must deduct this specific amount, or I must give Glenn fuel money and so forth, and this is the attachment for what we agreed on in terms of the vehicle agreement. So it allows you to actually attach any documentation. A scenario where you have casual employees, you can attach the group contract to say, okay, of all my casual employees, this is the contract which I served them, which is expiring now, so I need to renew it. So it basically allows you to always be on the ball in terms of your processing. The action reminder will look like, and you can see right at the bottom, it says view attachment, and it allows you to save it. You can even discard it, or you can view whatever attachment you would have placed here. And these are the human resources. You can see on the left, there's what you call a timeline of events. Timeline of events will say Glenn started working in this company in 2010, and it will state everything that has happened in Glenn's life, well, that is relevant to the business, such as promotions, company assets, any disciplinaries. So you can also use a timeline of event when you're switching jobs. So you can go to your human resources, and instead of asking for that letter where you have to be really nice to your manager, you can literally ask for a timeline of events form. The timeline of events will just give you a detailed information of everything that has happened within your career or your time serving within that company. You can have a departmental head count. You can have an asset register. This is what I mentioned earlier. So it just makes it a whole lot easier for you to obtain any sort of information that you require on your human resources. And lastly, on the payroll, you have the employee self-service information. So employee self-service allows you to access your human resources functions via the mobile phone. So just as you have your employee master file, you can also access your master file. So if you're married, if you were single once, now you're married, you're a woman, you've changed your name, you can change the details here. If you change your address, you can change the details here. So this basically gives a whole lot of, or frees up room on the payroll and the human resources personnel, because you actually get to do some of the actions yourself. So the more time is freed up for human resources, the more time they actually have to performing their actual duties. And it also helps you, because any information that is very sensitive, you don't need to be sharing it with anyone. You can make your own changes, and it goes, directly to the human resources personnel who it's meant to go to, and this maintains privacy. This is a payslip. What you see on the left is a list of the payslips that you have throughout your career in the company. So you can literally go back and select a payslip that you got 6 months ago. You can open up a payslip, and this is the information. It will have your income, you will have your gross earnings, it will have your net earnings, it will have your deductions, statutory requirements, gross income for the whole time that you've actually been employed. So you'll know that, okay, I've been employed for the last year and my gross income has been 500,000 and my gross deductions have been this particular much. So this allows you to be able to keep your payslips, and remember, you're accessing this off your phone and off the internet. You can just download it and discard it. You can download it and print it. You can download it and send it to the bank. If you're at the bank and you're requesting a loan, when they say, please give us your payslip, and it's a Saturday, you don't have to worry that the human resources department is not, currently at work. So you could literally just pull up your phone and pull whatever information based on your earnings the bank requires. So this is something that's actually very helpful in respect to you, the employee, running your own errands. Profile permissions, which basically means only you can access your profile. Access to other employees. This is for managers and team leaders and business owners who are given the right. Remember, it's not every manager who knows what's happening with every employee. So it's your specific line manager and your specific employees that work under you that if you need to have access to their information for whatever reason, you're actually granted access, and you do have access to see. You won't see everything that happens in the company with every other employee, just the specific employees which are assigned to you. And you have an employee profile permissions. So you can actually set permissions yourself as to this is how I access, this is my login, and you can change your login at any particular time to ensure that the security for your profile is maintained at any time. And these are the securities, and this can also be set up in terms of the organogram. So we can basically say certain managers have certain access to certain employees or certain departments and so forth. So when you're doing the setup, it may adopt how your organogram is set up, and it may adopt how each manager is said in the company policies in terms of access to information, in terms of access to company information as well. And this is where the securities and everything is set up. How many of us here, sometimes we're sick, we're at home, or we have an errand to run? Or especially the sick part is the one that interests me more. You go to work to tell the people at work that you're sick and that you're not coming to work. But while you're doing that, you're actually at work. And while you're at work, your manager says, listen, I've actually been wanting that other report. Please, 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 please give me that report. And you then spend an hour at work during the time where you're supposed to be sick doing actual work. And it doesn't make any sense at all. So online leave submissions just basically make it possible for you to, while you're at home, you're not feeling well, you wake up in the morning, go onto the ESS or employee self-service portal. Guys, I'm not feeling well, I've already gone to the doctor, this is my sick note. It allows for you to attach a sick note or any note that you need to make the manager know that you have, or if you're going to write an exam and so forth, and you had for some reason forgotten about it, you can actually do an online leave submission. Your manager will receive the online form. Now, some people have actually asked that, okay, so what happens if the manager denies? This is basically a feature or function that we've created to enable flexibility within the company. Should they deny your application, but you're already sick you've attached the right documents and so forth, it becomes something that you can later contest when you do go back to work. Say, but guys, I did attach my sick note and I followed the processes that you have said that I must follow. So then you can contest that when you do go to work. And your manager also can approve any of the leave remotely, because they also have access to the employee self-service. So if you apply for leave, you can literally just text your manager, or they also get a pop-up message that online leave for Glenn needs to be approved, and they will go on to make the particular approval. Reports and forms. You have a basic rating form, leave management report, employee feedback form. So this is all accessible through the employee self-service. You have an audit trail, leave report, job request form. You can actually see how anyone is using the system, and especially on a managerial point of view, you can print an audit trail or have access to how the system is actually being used in respect to different profiles. This is a leave management report. I'm quite sure you guys don't actually see it, but you can see how many people are on leave right now, how much leave has been approved, how much leave has been denied, who's going on leave, and so forth. So it will tell you in the form of a calendar of who's going away, when are they going away, or who's actually away right now. So it will basically help you manage your resources at work depending on different requirements. We've got times like Christmas where everybody wants to go on holiday, everybody wants to rest, but they still need for people to stay at work. So you can better manage your resources in this way and say, okay, out of my 10 resources, I only need 3. So this is who's going to be going on leave. These are the people who are going to be on call, and making sure that business continues. And that basically leads me to the end of my payroll presentation. Do I have anyone who wants to ask anything regarding payroll? Yes, sir. I will award you for being the first person to ask me something. I promise.
I have a company that pays employees based on their departments, and they have one employee who is paid basic salary from different departments.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to see on the pay slip if this employee earns maybe 3 million.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see on the salary slip that maybe 1 million from this department, 500,000 from the other department, and whatever, something like that. Can this payroll segment such a basic salary that way?
Okay. So what he's asking is, and I would like to assume perhaps maybe it's a consulting type of resource who's consulting different levels, different departments, and then is paid separately from those different departments. Okay, so what we usually have under human resources is a form meant for consulting employees, and that form is almost kind of like a job card, where each department will then fill in how much work they've done in that respective department, which basically now dictates how much is going to get paid. That's as far as we usually go. We won't, because remember, the payments are coming from a central point. Even though it's a specific department which has a specific budget, but at the end of the day, that payment is going to be coming from a central point. So we can go as far as annotating how much work they've done per respective department, but not specifically how much they are being paid by that department in terms of deducting the payments, because the payment is coming from one. And remember, a basic salary is a basic salary. It doesn't constitute of different payments from different departments, but maybe a commission will constitute different payments from. Okay, so with employee self-service, the reason why it was actually made is to enable flexibility in terms of leave submissions. In terms of the approval of those submissions, if by some reason, as I mentioned earlier, a manager declines that leave, you would have taken the leave because remember you have applied for it. If it's a specific scenario where you are unable to go to work totally, by maybe you're sick or you're attending a funeral or something has happened which is drastic, this is why that flexibility exists. In the case that a manager then declines that leave, you're able to appeal because you have submitted all the right documents. So then when you do go back to work, that remember a leave decline can easily be overturned. When you do go and you explain yourself, I haven't been at work for the last 3 days and this is the reason why I haven't been at work, and this is the documentation that I have for not being at work, that leave declined can be reversed and then you can get your leave approved.
Okay. I want to ask you a question. Your presentation is about the payroll.
Yes, sir.
You went far to include HR and self-service.
Yes,
Are these the same packet or different?
Okay.
The second question. These add-ons are being installed later or they come with the payroll packet?
Okay, thank you. The human resources and the employee self-service are extras. So what I mean by extras is they are not mandatory for you to buy when you buy the payroll package. So you can literally say, I want payroll package to just pay my people and create pay slips. Human resources and employee self-service, I'm not really interested in that. So you have an option. Those are the two options that you have. You can take payroll only, which is fine, or you can take payroll, human resources, which also will include employee self-service. So there's an extra cost to taking up the human resources, which I'm quite sure that's the question you want to ask. Yes, there's an extra cost to the human resources and to the employee services, but it's actually quite minimal. It's not very significant. I would have been able to give you the pricing, but pricing is based on the number of employees. So if you have 10 employees, you will pay a different price from someone who has 20, from someone who has 50. So that's how we charge our payroll packages. Are you happy with that, sir?
The second question, the add-ons are being part of the installed data or?
The add-ons are being installed later or they come with the payroll package?
Okay, so what basically happens with our add-ons is the disk or the program that you load has everything on it. It has human resources, but it's just inactive. So when you buy human resources, we basically give you a serial number that unlocks that particular module. Does that make sense? So we are basically saying we've given you everything on the setup that we've done for you, but some of the features like your human resources and your employee self-service are just grayed out. You don't have access to them. If you want them, you buy them and we give you a serial number or a key which basically unlocks that function. So it's not a different setup altogether. The only thing that requires setup is employee self-service, where we are now creating the portal for you and pushing data. Remember, on the human resources master file, where you have your medical aid and so forth, it's sitting on your computer. But when you buy employee self-service, we are pushing that information into the cloud so that it's accessible via the internet. So that's the only setup which is involved, but it can be done remotely. It's nothing where you actually need an agent to be on the ground, unless if you have a lot of employees.
Number two, it was disciplinaries. You said that there's the 6 disciplinary reasons we discussed to follow. Are these reasons written or can specify
Yes.
by myself?
Okay, so this is how it works.
And the first question, are these built-in or I can specify by myself? And if they are built-in, do I have ability to what the others?
Yes. So what we basically do in terms of the 66 disciplinary and the steps to follow is that you can actually add your own. And remember how your company treats, let's say for example, I work in an administration office. If I come to work drunk, how my company, because I work in administration office, treats me being drunk opposed to a company that works with alcohol is different. Because maybe I work in a restaurant, so if I'm drunk, they automatically assume that I'm drinking part of their stock. And that has a different step to follow and a different degree of an offense. So you can actually apply your own steps and even add your own as well. The 66 that exist, you can even edit some of them as well. So you have the liberty to add and to edit according to your company policies. But remember, everything should still be within the legislation. Because even though we have these steps, there's still an overall governing policy and law which governs Tanzania. You get it? So it's a thin line between what your company wants and what's still constituted as within the law. You must say, yes, you've come to work late once and this is how I'm going to act, but it must still be within what the law constitutes. Does that help you? Thank you.
This payroll solution is integrated with the accounting package that after posting into the payroll solution, you don't need to process again for posting into accounting package, or it will produce like a journal voucher that you need to post it again.
Okay, so the integration is seamless and it's live all the time. So anytime when you actually process a payroll batch, it will automatically push it to the accounting without you having to do anything about it. It's an automatic push. Remember when I showed that path where you need to show the accounting package where your accounting is sitting? You can actually, anytime when you do a process, it will post the batches. And what the system actually does as well is it has automatic buttons within either of the two. So if you're in accounting, you have a button that says payroll, which if you click, your program converts into payroll. And the same button, Martha, do you have payroll and accounting loaded here? Okay, I'll just see maybe later on when I can show you how that actually works. But just figure your program and you have those menu buttons. And on the menu buttons, you have one that says payroll. So if you click payroll, when you're in accounting, it will switch the package into a payroll. And if you're in payroll, you have one where you can click accounting and it will switch your payroll package into an accounting package. But you can only do that if you have both serial numbers and licenses for both products. It will make both the buttons live. So yes, the integration is seamless.
Because sometimes we have been facing like system stacks, hackers, and we can face sometimes system collapse from administrators. So I just want to ask if this system is secure so that we can secure our information, and if have been linked to the internet or drive or any cloud, that will enable us to get backup at the time when this system gets stuck or collapsed or hackers have passed through the system. The other question is, we always have time to make practice through the test instance when we run the portal. Do you have also the same system that we run the test instance or test server before we link to the live? Do you also practice the same?
Okay. As far as I've been employed by Sage and as far as I remember, we have never had a security breach because our products go through a global secure, policy trials, where if we're releasing a software, it has to pass certain levels of security. So in terms of our online packages, they have been secure. We've not experienced any hacking. This is not to say it will never happen. I will be politically correct with this one. Hacking happens to anyone, but in terms of our software, we have gone through the lines to ensure that the software is secure and the online cloud is secure as well. In terms of your own security, what we've done, this is why I've also mentioned the backups. We have the stamped backups where at any moment if you lose your information, the backup has a stamp. So you can even create it as a policy in your company that at every 2 hour, 1 hour, please run a backup. And that backup will have a stamp that this backup is for the 24th, this is a 10 a.m., this is a 12 a.m., this is 3 p.m. backup and so forth. So in terms of your information being safe, we've tried to go a few strides in ensuring that you have the access to backups and your backups have stamps. And in terms of access to the system, this is why we have passwords, and no one else has or can share a password. Each user is supposed to have their own password to access the system. And our servers are remotely hosted, and most of us don't even know. We do know the companies that host those servers, but we don't even know where they are hosted. In terms of online security, even when you're doing transactions, we've also implemented 3D transactions. 3D is when it asks you whether you're doing the transaction, it asks the banks whether you're doing the transaction, and it also asks the merchant who is possibly Sage whether that transaction is legitimate. This is all happens in milliseconds. Maybe you can get a confirmation onto your SMS on your phone whether you want to do a transaction, if it's a payment transaction. I mean, I'm just explaining extra now, but it didn't have a bearing on your original question, but this is how far we've actually gone to ensure that our systems are secure.
The other question that we have tested live instance.
Oh yes. So before you actually run our systems, I'm not sure if I'm getting your question correctly, but you're able to run a demo where you can do everything on a demo version before you actually go live. And should you approve what you've been doing on a demo, you don't have to restart. You can just then get a serial number as I explained, and then you will continue. Now you're live. So everything you do before you get a serial number will be on a test or a demo. But you can actually start processing right now using a demo. If you want to do salaries, you can actually do salaries using our demo version. If you want to do accounting, you can actually do your accounting testing our packages if they work for you using a demo version. And the moment when you get to a level where you say, you know what, we are happy with this package, let's purchase it, you will then get a serial number which unlocks the system and gives you an annual. The demo allows you to run for 30 days only, or for a specific number of transactions. So it's either transactions or 30 days, whichever one you meet first. And the demo becomes, it shuts down up until you actually get a serial number. What you're sending to your third party is what you've actually processed. It's not what you want to process, it's what you've actually. So you're saying I've processed 1 million worth of transactions and I've deducted 100,000. So that 100,000 now then goes to your third party. Is that okay? Anyone else? Is everyone happy with this? Okay, bit of my presentation. I'm just going to take you through the website package called Sage Online Tools. Remember when I was talking about accounting to those who were here earlier, I spoke about the Advantage Pack. And part of the Advantage Pack I said is Sage Online Tools, which is the website package. Wave your hand if you remember about the website package. It's called Sage Online Tools. Martha, no, you don't have to wait. Okay, Sage Online Tools. So Sage Online Tools, it's our website package. And please, everyone, take down this website address, www.sageonlinetools, S-A-G-E, online, O-N-L-I-N-E-T-O-O-L-S, tools. When you register a free trial, what the program is going to allow you to do is create your own website. Now, you probably think, no, I'm not smart enough, I'm not an IT person, I'm not a web designer. but you don't need to, because we've actually preloaded and pre-created templates within. So it will just ask you questions. What's your address? And then you put in your address. What's your business? What's your operating hours? You fill in this information. Insert your logo. Insert information about what your company does. What products do you sell? Where are you? You know, those kind of questions. And what this will actually do is, when you're doing that, it will allow you to create a website for yourself. You can put your pictures in. It has tutorial videos that will, you know, get you learning how to actually set up the website. And the only thing that will be left for you to do is to contact your local internet service providers for a domain name. Now, a domain name is that www that you see there when you're going to websites. So it will say www.tanzania.co.tz. That would be your local, not to say, this is just an example. So your domain name will be your specific company name, or however you want people to recognize your company. Why are we saying this? Because we're saying this is the fastest way to grow your company and to spread or get people knowing what your company does. There's no payment for this, guys. It's free, just from you purchasing any one of our products, especially the accounting package. It makes the program has an SMS and an emailing function that allows you to do that from your desktop, so you don't have to spam people with emails. Search engine optimization. So search engine optimization is the work that gets into a website in allowing people to Google. So when you Google Sony fridge, what Sony have actually done is they've done what we call search engine optimization to ensure that when someone puts that name Sony on Google, it knows that someone is looking for specific information, and then it sends that information to you. So that's extra information, but it's kind of like what gets into people actually finding anything on Google. Blog capability. Social media sharing. So these days, any information that needs to go around is going around on social media. So if I see a certain product that I like on a website, I'm actually able to share it from that website directly to the person I want to purchase it for me, or to the person who I may be thinking that they need to know this specific information. Blog capability is if your business does or is into products or solutions which people need to understand more about. You can do what we call blogging, which is basically writing articles about your product and posting it onto your website, which helps people understand more about what you do. So it's not advertising essentially, because you're not doing it to create a sale, but you're doing it to conscientize people on what you're selling, which has the same effect, and it will get people buying your product because they understand more about what you do. E-commerce utilization. This is when you have a specific product that people can actually pay online, and then you send the product to the customer. This is stuff about search engine optimization. Payslips equal to receive more relevant information from Google, personal profile changes, small icon associated with particular website. You don't really have to pay so much attention to this, because this is the stuff that designers actually get to do in terms of making your website more visible. This is the work that gets into the website to make it more visible. Tagged content is when someone writes a headline on Google, that information, how Google then realizes that this is the specific information that the particular searcher is looking for, is tagged content. So you can say, we sell water. So when someone writes refreshment or water or anything healthy liquids, anything of that sort. You can take that information to make sure that it comes to your site and looks for your specific website. HTML5 is the program that we use to write the website on. This is information that I'm sure most of you are saying we really don't need to know this, but this is the program that we use to write this, the search engine, the Sage Online tools. So easy social media sharing. You can share on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+. If some of you guys have Twitter, I'm sure you may have been or may wanted to tweet, I'm at a Sage event, hashtag Sage, hashtag Berith, hashtag Tanzania, doing business great, stuff like that. So that just makes the world see what's happening. Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, and you can even add some of the other social media platforms that you prefer. So it just makes it much easier to share information from the website. E-commerce plugin, it integrates with accounting. So if you have prices of any products or solutions in accounting, this program will pull those prices and show them as they are. If you have stocks, it will also represent stocks online as they are. So if someone buys 10 items, the website will now show that the stocks available are now less 10. So this works more if people have product. Multiple product dimensions, it basically means you can say, I'm selling this bottle of water in 500 mils, 1 liter, and I'm also selling it in strawberry flavor, lemon flavor. Those are product dimensions. It's the same product in different variables. Payment gateway integration allows for people to pay for the specific product online using their bank card, and then you receive your product and you receive your money. The customer receives product, business receives their money. Feature products anywhere on site. You don't literally have to have an online shop. You can literally put products anywhere on your site or solutions. Shipping costs calculated. The business that's selling will pre-calculate how much it actually costs for you to deliver the product to the customer, and that is included in the price. Auto imports of products from your Sage accounting software and select products. So if you have products that you want to sell online, it will automatically pull those products from the accounting software into Sage Online Tools. So please just visit that that website address and explore what the product is about. That's pretty much all I have to say. I'm hoping that the information that I've shared with you today was useful. Martha, can I please have those? Berith is available to assist you, and my last, well, in my culture we believe that if you have had a conversation with someone, the one way to make them remember you is to give them something. So I have 4 items. This is a power bank, and I would like to give this to my brother sitting here. He was the first person to arrive, and I would like to present this to him for waking up so early.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. You gave me hope that people are actually coming today. And this, I'll give this to my brother who asked the first question. It's a diary and notebook, pen. Thank you so much for opening up the mouths of people. And so I have one more power bank which I want to give to a lady because it's pink. Well, I'm sorry, but yeah, but it's pink because I've given the first 2 to gentlemen. So I'd like to give the last 2 to women. And since neither of the women asked anything or came first, I would like to ask you questions. They are going to be very simple questions. Martha, can you think of anything? Payroll. Oh. What are the 2 add-on modules to the payroll? The 2 add-on modules, the 2 extras that come with payroll. I mentioned payroll and I mentioned other 2.
HR and self-service.
Thank you. Yes, you're correct. Please hand this to the nice lady. And well, last but not least, this is a very simple one. What are the 2 products that I presented today? Actually, 3 products. 3 products that I presented today. This goes out to anyone really. What are the 3 products I presented today? Anyone? Huh? No, for anyone. For anyone.
3 packages.
Yes, that I presented today. Oh, sorry. Their names.
Let me try.
Yeah, please try.
Payroll package,
Yes.
human resource package, and self-service package.
No. Wrong. He knows. Okay. Please give him the mic, someone.
Let me also try accounting package. This one.
Mm-hmm.
The human resource, local payroll,
Uh-huh.
and website.
Yes. Thank you. The names are Partner Accounting Advantage, Payroll, and Sage Online Tools. And that's that's the website. So I know I talk a lot. I hope it was helpful to you. Thank you.